Good morning. Welcome back to the Drag Racers Insurance channel and the second installment, which will answer the age-old question, is my trailer covered? In the last installment, we discussed liability coverage, in other words, damage to other people's bodies or property, and this week we are going to discuss damage to your trailer itself and its contents, including your race car. We'll start with a general rule. It's a little bit different than liability coverage, which means if you look at your auto policy and you don't see your trailer listed on there with a separate premium charge for comprehensive and collision coverage, there isn't going to be any coverage for physical damage to your trailer. In fact, most auto policies offer no automatic coverage for the trailer itself. Sometimes your homeowner's policy may have a small amount of coverage for the trailer. We're going to get into that in our next installment about homeowners' policies and how that plays with race cars. Some auto policies do throw in coverage for a trailer, especially motorhome policies. But again, if they give you any free coverage, it's going to be a small amount, maybe $1,000, maybe $2,500, but not enough coverage to cover any trailer that's worth its salt. Certainly not one that I would tow with. These days, even open trailers, brand new, can cost 5 figures. They're pretty fancy now. So again, if you want coverage for your trailer one way or another, you're really going to have to pay for it. Now, in some cases, you'll be able to list your trailer on your auto policy. But again, it has to be listed on the policy, and there has to be a separate premium charge for comprehensive coverage and collision coverage. Now, collision coverage is defined as colliding with another vehicle or object or overturn of the vehicle or the trailer in this case. Comprehensive are a list of other perils that are covered, fire, theft being among the most prominent. Strangely enough, collision with an animal is a comprehensive claim, not a collision claim, but it probably wouldn't make much of a difference if you do have that coverage. Now, to add your trailer, if it's not on there already, you need to contact your insurance company or insurance agent. Insider's tip: when you call up, don't say, "Hey, I want to add my race car trailer." Mentioning the words race car to an insurance company invokes a rather natural pucker reaction, and they tend to just hear that and run in the other direction, say, "No, we can't do that." Now, technically, your race car trailer is a utility trailer. So you can just say, "Hey, I have a 24-foot utility trailer I'd like to add to the policy." You'll probably get a better reaction that way. However, if the agent or company asks you what the trailer is used for, you need to be truthful with them and tell them you're using it to haul your race car. If you don't, you're asking for a denied claim. It's better to be denied coverage before there is a claim rather than after a claim. So please keep that in mind. You never want to lie or misrepresent stuff to an insurance company. That's when bad things start to happen. There are 3 or 4 general shortfalls to adding a trailer to your auto policy. First of all, customization is generally not covered, and we tend to customize trailers. It can be stuff on the inside that's attached to the trailer, like shelving, cabinets, pit pal stuff, a generator. and also stuff on the outside, for example, a custom paint job or a wrap. As you know, that stuff can be expensive, and that generally is not going to be covered. The second part is the contents of the trailer are not going to be covered. We're going to get to that next, so hang on. Last, the value of the trailer may be a problem. If you tell them you have a 34-foot trailer and the value is $100,000, that's probably going to set off some alarm bells. Even high-value cars like a Jaguar or whatever costs a lot of money these days can set off a reaction with an insurance company. And to have a trailer, maybe for 6 figures or high 5 figures, driving around, that's a big loss for an insurance company to look at. So that alone can get them pretty nervous and might prevent you from getting coverage. The last problem with this is if you have a trailer loss, just a trailer loss, it goes on your auto policy record. And the way auto policies are rated these days, regardless of what you are told, trust me, all losses are charged for, even towing and glass losses. The rating programs that the insurance companies use for this stuff are very complicated, and they will, if they can get some money back, they're going to do it. Now, not everyone understands why trailer contents aren't covered, but I'm going to give you an example of why that is. The insurance company, if they're going to cover something relating to property, they need to know how much they're on the hook for, and therefore how much to charge for it. If they just covered your contents, you could be transporting in your 24-foot trailer a $700,000 Ferrari or McLaren. Then if you had a loss, the insurance company wouldn't have gotten any money for covering it, and they'd be out a lot of money. So basically, that is the problem. And since there's really no way for them to know what's going to be in your trailer, that's why they covered the trailer but not the contents. It makes sense. You may not like the answer, but it makes sense. As an aside, if you transport a car or really anything else for anyone not in your family, something you don't own, there's not going to be coverage for it at all. And the reason is there's a clause in both the liability and the property coverage for property that's in your care, custody, and control, property that you don't own. So what's going to happen is it's going to be excluded. So if you do a favor for somebody and transport some stuff, no matter what it is, car, furniture, anything, it's important that you let them know that you have no insurance coverage, and if there's a loss, whether it's your fault or not, they're going to be on the hook. Then do you still want me to transport it, or do you want to pay somebody who has insurance for your stuff? Then you can deal with that question. So far, we've identified 3 problems. The first one is insuring the trailer for its correct value, which may include customization. The second problem is being honest about the usage, transporting a race car. And third is, of course, the contents of the trailer, which sort of leads to the property that you have that relates to your race car. Could be spare parts, a spare engine, tools, safety equipment, weather station, all that stuff, Pro-Jacks. It all adds up. You know. You paid for it. So this is the part where I have to be a bit self-serving. And the reason I tend to know about a lot of this stuff is for the last 35 years, I've sold a policy that covers race cars and race car trailers, and also all the miscellaneous property stuff that goes along with it. Now, there are competitors out there that sell similar coverage, but I can't address their coverages. There are differences in coverages, but I'm not going to speak for somebody else's product because the bottom line is I just don't know enough to do that. I can speak for my own. A few things that you should know. First of all, we can insure any value of race cars and trailers well up into the six figures. Um, it's just not an issue. We have an insurance company that has a lot of financial capacity to do that. Second of all, the coverage that we offer is, to the best of my knowledge, the broadest coverage out there for this type of stuff. It includes all acts of God, including just the regular stuff. So comprehensive and collision is part of it. Our coverage is more broad than that. Something that's important, especially these days, is our policy covers all acts of God, weather-related stuff, and especially your trailer is subject to that. We cover earth movement for all my peeps out in California. Hope that never happens to you. Flooding, hail damage, windstorm, all of that stuff is covered under our policy, and that is so important because, again, even if your race car stays inside your house or garage during the winter, a big portion of the year it's going to be outside along with your trailer. It's subject to that stuff. We had a loss this year where a gentleman had a carbon fiber race car body in a unit where the front of the unit was ripped off by a tornado. And that was a covered loss. That was not a cheap covered loss. As for contents, we can insure all contents that are related to the race car and racing. So in other words, if you decide one weekend to haul your furniture, we are not going to cover the furniture, or as previously mentioned, stuff that belongs to somebody else. But your stuff, your contents, spare parts for the car, they're covered both in your trailer, in your house, in fact, anywhere in the lower 48 states where they may reside. So that's very broad coverage. Because a lot of people have spare engines and transmissions, for example, but they don't take them with them because they don't wish to be doing that type of swap on a weekend at the racetrack. So that's something to keep in mind. And as we're going to get into in the next installment, homeowners policies do not cover automotive related stuff and other stuff. We're going to get into that more. So keep that in mind. The bottom line is, whether it's with me or somebody else, I'm telling you, your best bet if you own a race car and a trailer are to insure them separately. And there's a number of reasons. First and foremost, you can be honest about what you have. We aren't scared of race car trailers. We've been insuring them for over 30 years, and the company that I use has been with me for 32 years, and they're a great company. The premium for race car coverage is less than you would think, and it's pretty cheap compared to the exposure and what you have into your equipment. It's affordable, and we also have a billing plan. One last thing that's important is, even if you have some coverage under your home or auto policy, especially these days, the last thing you want to do is report a loss to your homeowners or auto insurer that has anything related to do with racing. They are not going to take to that kindly. If you can report this under our policy, that isolates it, and it will probably save you a lot of money down the road should you have this type of loss. Last but not least, a word from our sponsor, which is us. Please tune in next time to find out how your homeowner's policy responds to you having a race car. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more content. All insurance information in these videos is based on knowledge of standard forms and coverages. But please note there are 10,000 insurance companies doing business in the United States, and a number of them have non-standard forms and coverages. In addition to which, forms and coverages change over time to keep up with the times. So, please contact your own agent or company to confirm if the information in this video applies to you and your coverages. If you have further questions, please put them in the comments section down below and I'll do my best to answer them. And of course, if you'd like a quote for your race car and trailer, please contact us at Drag Racers Insurance at 203-274-8954 or bill at hortonis.com, HORTONIS.com. Thank you for watching.